All right. In this video, we are going to take a look at Netlify and VibeSheet. Also discuss the project I recently built, and I think this video will be more of a high level overview of how to build projects in Netlify. I'll try to keep this generally shorter, and depending on the response from you all, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do some follow-up videos specifically around the things that you all need. So at this point, this is going to be pretty high level. It's not going to go into a lot of depth, mostly because I don't know if you need it. So let's find out if you have any concerns or questions first after you watch this. So take some notes, jot down any questions you might have, and feel free to ask me. So Netlify is a really nice environment because we can use AI tools to update Netlify directly using right now using GitHub. Now we may update VibeSheet to be able to update Netlify directly. That's something I'm looking at too. But for this current overview, we're going to be looking at GitHub. And I may do like a real small, short demo of how to get things working with Netlify. But I want to show you what Netlify is, how to set up some basic projects, get them started, and some things you can do within VibeSheet, and then what I kind of an overview of how I used Codex with VibeSheet as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So this is Netlify. It's really nice. So it's easy to use. It takes away the complicated things that you might need to know for running a server. So this is where you would host your code. So for example, I have this project I created. I called it mindxdo.com or mindxdo. And so I had to put this code somewhere. So this is all on Netlify's website. It's got a homepage with some of these marketing pages. And essentially, this is three different tools all connected together. So we have mind map, to-dos, and Kanban boards, which is kind of like a task sheet. And all of these connect together. And this is what you see here is kind of all the marketing stuff. So you've got some marketing pages, a purchase checkout page, a login page. You have a place to do trials. So all of that's here. And there's some nice buttons and kind of just breaks down what the tool is about. So we got our marketing pages, and then we've got our login page. So we have user authentication, which is all this stuff stored in a database. So after I log in, you'll end up seeing the tool, and then all the information you hear, like all these different mind maps. If I click on this mind map, and you see all this mind map drawn out, all these individual pieces are different nodes, and each one of these is in a database. And then there's connections between all these. So for example, this one's got to-do lists, and then on this to-do list, I've already checked off everything on the to-do list, but all these to-dos are also stored in the database. So all of this is a website that has a database behind it. It's got some functionality as well. It's got a whole nice user dashboard here with different things that you can do. So you need to be able, if you want to build something like this, where you have a tool or a web tool that people can go to, a website that folks can go to, they can use it. This particular tool has AI built into it. So we have AI here, or you can do it manually. So this is using AI systems. It's using database. It's using Netlify's environment, and all of this is AI driven. I did not actually have to write any code, which is absolutely wild that we were able to do this. So it took about 2 weeks to fully build this out, just because I learned Netlify. And so I'm going to be showing you how to do some of that stuff here. So we have Netlify, and then we have the VibeSheet as well. And so How do we get this all working? We basically are using our GitHub connection. So the way you make all this work is you need to send your code to GitHub. And then once it's inside GitHub, then what we'll do is go over to Netlify and then sync everything up to what we pushed over to GitHub. And then once all that's in place, then we can start using a tool like Codex. And Codex, you will also connect to GitHub, and we can start working on updating code using Codex. So whatever VibeSheet will get you a pretty far along on the project, and at least get out the structure of your code, and then you use Codex to start fixing stuff. Soon my plan is to see if we can get VibeSheet to actually produce a lot more code and fix things for us. So that's coming on the horizon. But right now, you will need to use something like Codex or Cursor to end up optimizing code. And that way you have a lot of control over how things are built. So step one to all of this is, you do need to think out what it is you're going to build. I will be updating there'll be an update coming out that has Netlify and Netlify with database. So this is code that, as I've been building a project, I've been working on this. So this is already in place. I just need to release this to you. So you will have Netlify and Netlify with database. So you would actually select one of these. I imagine that most people are going to go with a database. But if you don't need a database, you can just click on Netlify. If you do want to have a database involved, select this, and that'll help build out a database for you. And Netlify comes with a database called Neon that we'll take a look at. So anyways, those are here. It automatically brings in the right things that you need. And over time, I will be improving the code around these. So that's all coming as well. So for this project, I started with VibeSheet, and for me, because there was a pretty good size application here, right? So I had all of these different pages that I wanted. I wanted a home page, an about page. I wanted some different pages here. I wasn't even sure what I was going to do because this was a demo, but I knew I wanted to do mind maps and to-dos connected to each other. And then I eventually added in this Kanban board. I knew I needed a purchase page and a login page. So I knew that I wanted to build out this whole front end. I also knew I needed a dashboard, and I needed different kind of canvas or pages you could go to use these tools. And I knew I needed a database. So I knew I needed basically 3 potentially different layers. And with VibeSheet, I've learned that it's better that if you can really focus on parts of a bigger application like this, you'll generally get better code. Now it could be with the new rollout of chat with GPT-5, maybe we can do better projects in one shot in VibeSheet. But I still would recommend trying to think through section by section. So in one sheet, for example, what I did was, and this is getting into like, how do I build out a larger project with multiple sheets? So what I did was, in one sheet, this sheet right here, I decided to focus on kind of the front end. This is the customer facing marketing pages. So I went into ChatGPT and I ended up building out this prompt, and it helped me think about the colors and animations and headers and things like that. So this sheet was for the homepage and those marketing pages. So, and this, got me about 30 different files, which is a pretty good amount for this. And so then I decided, okay, while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and think through the mind map and to-do system. Now, later on, I ended up adding the Kanban board, which I would have been nice to have thought through. I needed that now, but that's okay. If you're not sure what you're going to build, this is a good way to go. But essentially, this is the different pages that are needed. So, like this is what the user would be doing. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, I want a mind map and to do system, where it's looking at that application stuff. And so here, this is an overview of how it's going to work. And so I had it write me out some things to kind of talk about how the mind map works and how it looks visually. So I did kind of the front end, you know, page that users would use. That's the directions I gave it. And so I got some files out of that as well. So I ended up getting about 33 files here. And this kind of encompassed like the different map selector and how to save the map. And, we had a header and footer in here, navigation system, things like that. So we also had the database in here as well, called the Neon client. So all that got created for kind of the, how I wanted the app to work and feel. The next one was I wanted to bring in some admin stuff. So as an admin, I wanted to look at, what users were in here. Are there any payments, analytics, things like that? So I wanted just some extra pages in here for kind of an admin type feel. So I added this as well. So if you want to have any admin type access to your user, right? So if you log in, you're the admin, maybe you want a little bit more reporting and you want to see what's going on. So I decided to build that out just to kind of test it. And then next was, let's see here, was more of like user management and authentication. So I wanted to think through, okay, well, I need to have code that's going to manage users, and if those users are creating different, maps and so on, I want to have all of that in place. So what's the backend code to run all this, right? So that's kind of what all this is. This is sort of the backend code to everything. One thing that I will do automatically for us is there's some files that we need that will build all of your database stuff. So all of that's included. But I wanted to develop the backend functionality. So now that I have the dashboard in place, you need backend code to run it, right? So what's actually making the mind maps work? What's making the to-dos work? What's making everything work, right? So I had ChatGPT just write, so what's some background or code that's going to run everything. So I wanted to develop all of that code a little bit separately than all of the kind of pages that users would use. So there's the marketing pages and there's the application pages that people see, and then there's the code that runs it all, right? And so I decided I wanted to have VibeSheet build me just the code on the backside, right? And so that's kind of what this is. This is all the different functionality and code that would be needed to make everything work. So you'll end up seeing there's a bunch of database type stuff here that says like create the maps, create the nodes, create the to-dos. Like there's a whole bunch of this stuff in place. There's a password reset. I think I had Stripe in here as well. I said I need a Stripe payment system. I need to do like to-do management, mind mapping. All these things need to have something in place, right? And so this went through and it added in a Stripe client and just all this stuff, right? And I did need to think out, like, how am I going to do payments? Like, what am I going to use, right? Am I going to use PayPal? Am I going to use Stripe? Like, all of that I had to consider. So I said, okay, I want code that's going to manage users so they can log in. I want code that's going to allow me to manage my mind maps, manage my to-dos. I want to do payments. Like, I know I'm going to use Stripe, so go ahead and get that in place. So I just went through and listed, what are some of the high level code that I need in place to make all of this even work. So it went through and built me out about 39 files, right? And so all of this is now in place. I'm not necessarily telling VibeSheet about all of the other sheets that I've done and all the other code. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter as much as long as the core structure of everything that's in here is in place. And then I'm going to use Codex or Cursor, another tool, to kind of like blend it all together and optimize it. So it all works together. So we'll need to work through optimizing and kind of tying all this together, but at least it'll have the foundation in place. So that was that. And then the last thing what did I end up doing here? I'm trying to remember. It's been a couple weeks since I did this. So I think I wanted to do one extra piece, and I wanted to focus on database only. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to have um, certain things in place that I need to have from a database perspective, right? So um, I want to ensure that basically everything's in place for a GitHub and Neon database structure. I want all the files that are needed to make sure that I can use Neon and that I can use SQL. So you may not need to do this. This was after I learned about Neon. I decided to develop this script because I knew I needed a little bit extra that I didn't have. I didn't realize, I didn't know what Neon was when I started working on Netlify. So that's something I had to learn. So this is an extra thing that I did that said, hey, I have a Neon database I'm going to use. I need those files specifically. Here's the project. Here's the types of things I need. So it at a high level, it just gave me some of the files and things I wanted in place. Um, did I need to do this? Probably not, but it was at the time good for me to just get this in place so I could ensure it was all there. What will end up happening is um, I'm going to, what ended up happening is I ended up creating these projects based upon what I learned. So a lot of what you're seeing here in this extra sheet is going to be kind of already available, and the code will do it. So I probably could have done this in 4. So I probably could have said, okay, well, if I did all my back end code and it's using Neon, just make sure that all those files are there. And I think they already were. From what I remember, all I wanted to do was just make sure that I had all of the files and the environments and everything in place to take care of what I needed. And I also gave it the the variables and the things that needed to be in here that are inside Netlify. And I'll show you where those are stored at. And so anyways, right now I'm just giving you an overview of the 5 sheets that I designed and sort of my process for going about doing this. And then once all of these were ran, so I ran all 5 of these at the same time. Each one produced anywhere from 20 to 30 files. It took about, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes to run. And we ended up getting 160 files. So 160 files is a pretty good amount. We had a lot of code in place. And to be able to do 160 files in 40 minutes, I think is pretty impressive. If you think about breaking this out and you do it this way, it's incredibly fast. If you were to do 160 rows in one sheet, it's going to take time. Any AI system you go to right now that needs to have a lot of files to it, I don't care what tool you go look at, doing 160 files is not going to be fast. And a lot of those tools are not going to allow you to run multiple instances of that same tool, right? Like if Cursor's running, it's just Cursor. Like that's it. I can't have 5 different versions of Cursor running unless I have 5 different computers. Google Sheet is allows us to create this special situation where if you just go to File and make a copy, you're creating a whole new instance of this sheet that it can run on its own. So I literally have 5 different Vibe sheets running. I think that's incredibly powerful. You can build out some incredible systems doing it this way, right? Versus just one sheet. It really depends on the size of your project. If it's a real small project, you don't need something this big. If you think there's going to be a lot of layers to it and it's a good size app, if you're going to have a kind of like what I just went over, I would consider breaking it up. Now, you may not need all 160 files. You may end up only needing 100, may only need 90. We'll let the code figure that out, and you can use AI to remove extra files. But doing it this way will allow you to bulk build and get a lot done very quickly. So anyways, all of that was done. And then all you have to do at this point is open up your GitHub sidebar. Right now I've added, you can get to GitHub 2 different ways. You can do it from the script builder. So at the very bottom, of your script builder uh, sidebar, you'll notice that there is your options for GitHub. There's now a pop-up menu that runs, and there's GitHub there as well. So this is one way to get to it. Another quick way is underneath research and tools, I added GitHub, and I also added this chat that we can look at here. And I use this quite a bit, but GitHub sidebar, if you click this, it'll open up your GitHub. And I have it here because it's really nice to be able to import all of your code and analyze everything in one shot. It's a lot easier to use this than a lot of systems. Um, so the big thing is export. And so what I did was I created a new repository. I gave it a name and I sent it over. I think I called it Mind Map X. And then once the first sheet was done, I went through and I on the next sheet I clicked on load my repository. So all of the sheets I ended up doing this. I load the repository, and if you notice, it'll be basically the last one that you created. So here I have Mind Map X, and I clicked on it. And then once I had that selected, all I had to do was export to GitHub. Now I turned off the README file. I didn't need AI to generate that for me. Totally up to you. But I ended up going through all 5 sheets, and all I did was I went and exported to GitHub, and I pushed all of this code over to GitHub. Now, some of the file names were identical. I was anything that's the same. I was not too worried about if it overwrote another file. I was going to use Codex anyways to clean stuff up. And then if one particular file was missing any information, I would just easily add it back. So I don't think you need to worry about being perfect. You don't need to worry too much about if one file gets clobbered by another one during the import process, because AI is so powerful right now that if something were to happen, missing a little piece of code or you overwrote another file is not going to matter. We no longer need to be so like careful. Like in the past, you would have wanted to go step by, because every file was time and effort, right? Like every file represented an hour to multiple hours of work. If you were to bring this over to GitHub and you were to overwrite another file, the problem is you would be wiping out, could be hours of work. I mean, it's kind of scary. We don't have that issue anymore. Speed is really the name of the game, and just kind of shoving this forward. So, right now, what I did was I just pushed all the code over, and then I'm just going to use AI to fix things on the fly. So I'm not worried about all of this working. I'm not worried about being perfect. I just want to have enough foundation in place and enough code in place for the AI to start optimizing and building, and it can see based upon all the code where I want to go with this bigger project, right? So it's kind of like having a giant piece of clay and you're slowly building and shaping it into what you want, into the sculpture you want. And you've got the big piece of clay, you've generally massaged out, and you've built out generally the shape of the sculpture. Now we're going to bring it over to AI to keep working the details out. So anyways, one at a time, I just went through sheet by sheet and I loaded each one of these into that same GitHub repository. And that's it. I'm not going to go into detail about how to do that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I just loaded my repositories. I found the name of the repository, and then I just exported those files to GitHub. So if you need more information on that, let me know. Hopefully that's fairly straightforward. So at this point, I'm sort of done with the vibe sheets, right? So that goes over vibe sheets, how I built everything out with multiple files, how I thought about things. Like I said, I did spend time with ChatGPT. What's really cool is ChatGPT5 just rolled out. So you could give it, hey, I'm using VibeSheet. It's a Google Sheet code builder. It's better that I build out parts of the website in different sheets. I have 5, I have this app I want to build called mind map X, and I've got I want to connect my maps to do's to Kanban boards. So I've got my marketing pages, I've got my app, I've got my code, and I've got my database. Help me create different sections so I can put this into VibeSheet, and it will help you chunk up and section off what parts, right? So that's how I would probably use this. So if you need me to give you an example of that, we could work on another example, but hopefully you get the idea of what I just said. So essentially you would just have it go through that with you. So I would, in ChatGPT, no, I can do you a quick demo here. So in ChatGPT, I would say, help me get requirements ready for for a new app I am building on Netlify using Neon and API to AI. The plan is to build a website for users to create mind maps that connect to to-do list, and the to-do list connect to Kanban board. And then we could say, I will also use user login and a purchase payment using Stripe, and billing with profile pages in the app. Let's create requirements, to be used in a coding tool called VibeSheet. We need to break this into requirements, and run the sheet based on sections. For example, the marketing homepage and pages, the internal application, and the backend code. Let's plan out building this with multiple VibeSheet Google Sheets. So I'd just give it something like that. I think ChatGPT 5 should be pretty powerful. We'll see how it goes. Now it's just breaking it into 3 master sections. So marketing, website, internal application, backend, plus infrastructure. I think this is good. When I started, I did 5, but some of it was discovery process. So I probably didn't need all 5, but I built 5. I think you could get away with doing 3 here, and you could build out pretty good stuff. So sheet 1, here's your core pages, core requirements, sheet 2, and then sheet 3. And, because you're doing this in ChatGPT, you can provide notes in each section that kind of guide and help the section prior, just so it's aware. But I don't know if you'll need so much of that stuff. So I think generally you'll just build stuff out, push it over, and then start using AI to optimize everything. But this is it. And then from here, I would take sheet one, and I would ask for a description of what's being built. I would ask for a list of user flows, how people are going to use it. I would ask for maybe a list of potential files, and I would add it into the into my project notes, just like you see right here. That's what ChatGPT did for me earlier, and then once it gave me all of this, I just started having it build everything out. So everything is basically what I just showed you is how I built these, except I did it across 5 sheets. And like I said, I did one extra one with the Neon database just to make sure that I had all the files and everything I needed. I don't think I needed to do that looking back, but I did it at the time. So there's no harm in building a few extra files. You can use AI to clean all that stuff up. And eventually at the end, you can say, well, what files are not being used? And you could delete those. So there's a lot of cleanup that you can do. So anyways, that is it for VibeSheet planning, getting things in place, how I went through getting things into GitHub. If you have any questions with any of that, certainly let me know. Hopefully you get the idea. I do think the more time you can spend in ChatGPT planning out and discussing what you want built and making sure that you understand what needs to go in each sheet, the more time you can spend thinking about all the different pages, I think the better it will be. So if you can go look at someone else's website, maybe take some notes somewhere, think about things, grab a pencil and paper and actually write out the things that you think you want, come to ChatGPT, discuss those, have ChatGPT help you expand. It could actually provide things you didn't think about. Like I would actually, these mind map to do and Kanban, I would, this features page, I would want to do separate pages like I did. I think the blog is something I didn't think about. You could have it build you a blog. So there's obviously some key things here that we can do. So with that said, the next step is there's two things. And I recommend right now, I'm recommending people use Codex. I think Cursor is another cool one to use. There's other tools out there. I know Google Jules also is another option for those looking for a free option that maybe they're not paying for ChatGPT. I think Claude has a new thing out now called Claude Code that could be interesting to use. There's a bunch of things to test. So I'm going to teach with Codex at the moment. I will be looking at Cursor, I think, is my next step. But Codex is what I use. So how do you get there? On the left-hand side, and I have some quick training on this, but you click Codex here on the very left of ChatGPT. You should see Codex. When you click on it, it'll open up a new Codex window. And so you need to get your repository connected. I already have mine connected, but if it was not, you would go to manage environments. And when you're first starting, you'll see a whole series of questions or prompts or screens that try to get you through adding your GitHub account. But so here's all the GitHubs I have connected. And let's say I don't have mine connected yet. So I'd click on create environment, and then you will need to make sure you're connected to your GitHub account. And then from here, you would just find your repo. So I think I had Mind. Yeah. So right here, Mind Map X, I would click on this. Now I already have this. It already exists. So it's not going to let me do it again. But let's say I didn't have it yet. I would come down all the way to the bottom right, and I would click on create environment. And that would launch a new Codex environment. It looks like this. You'll see the name of your repository and you'll see the name of your project. And then you're hooked up, like you're connected at this point. And so now this tool will help you actually start the coding process to getting things working on Netlify. And so this is how you're going to have a conversation with your code. And then as you update the code, you're going to then update those things on GitHub. And then those are automatically going to sync over to to Netlify, and we'll do an example of that. I'll do some changes to this Mind XDo project, right? So I'll come through. We'll change the color maybe of this button here, and we'll work on that. So okay, so you've got now this connected. If you're not sure, you can say, what is this project about at a high level? Give me the basics. And you can click on ask. Or you can work on code. Now, this works like tasks. So everything you type in here is going to come in as a new request or a new task. You can run in multiple of these at a time, but I would highly recommend that you only run one task at a time, especially if you're coding. The problem is if you try to do too many things at once, or you do two things at once, if both of those are updating the same code file, you're going to run into problems, because it's like having two different developers working, and now they've got two different files. You got to figure out how to merge them. It's if you're new to this whole process and you're new to GitHub, do not do more than one at a time. That's my big advice to you. So at this point, now that we have Codex hooked up, we need to go set up our Netlify account, right? And so that is next. So when you first head in, you'll sign up and you'll create an account. It'll probably ask you some questions. It's pretty simple. You are going to need to hook up your GitHub. So you'll come in, and this screen right here is your kind of your dashboard. I imagine, you'll see something like this. This is when you come in. Now it may be empty, but you need to get started, and add new project is how you get started. So you can create projects without GitHub in here. There's ways to do that. I'm going to show you with GitHub right now. And then later on, maybe we can work on other ways to do it. So the first one you're going to pick is for GitHub, import an existing project. There are templates that Netlify will give you. So that's an interesting thing. And then you can deploy manually. So right now we're going to click on import an existing project, and we would go to GitHub, and you would connect your GitHub account. Now this is going to show you, what's available in here. Right now I have my mind map already selected. So anyways, we can search, our repos in here. See, configure, Let's deploy your project with, let's see, select repository. Can't see your repo here, configure. So it should be added. So looks like I just need to go through and actually connect this. Interesting. Only selected repositories. Oh, I see. I went through and I made it so it can only see the two. You can come through with this, and you can select all repositories and save, or you can select which ones you want to have. So I can come through and select more. Let's say I want to do Alien Blitz. There we go. So I can see my Alien Blitz is in here now, and I can actually take that code that I have on another server, and maybe I wanted to deploy it onto Netlify. So pretty easy to do. From what you just saw, it was easy to click and do that. So after you click your repository, it's going to create a new project for you, and you can start building. I'm going to keep this on MindMap X, which is that Mind XDo project. I ended up renaming it, but I would click this, and then essentially what I would end up with is I would have a tile right here, and you can see here I'd have like Mind XDo, and I would have the name of the project. Now, when you first get going, you end up getting a Netlify domain name. They give you a temporary one. It's whatever name you give this, .netlify.app. By the way, Netlify is free to use up until a certain point. If you need a custom domain name, or if you're building a lot, you will need to pay to use. Now, it's not bad. For $19 a month, you can get quite a bit. And you can also build a lot of websites. I think 500 websites within the limit of that that whatever they give you for $19 a month. But anyways, this domain is what you would use to go see your project and code. This is the first Netlify website example that I built. It's all AI driven, called Scalar Max. I will end up building this out for real, but that was more of a demo. My next project I decided to build was something that I thought would be a little bit more fun, like using to-do list and kind of really build out a database and something I thought people could go in and mess around right away. So that's what got me to this. Now, I did end up adding a custom domain. That is something I do towards the end. But I'm trying to see, there's usually like I was trying to see if there was like a steps or things that it teaches you to do. So not a big deal. So anyways, once this first one is created, you simply click into it and you'll see your project overview. And, you end up seeing something like this. Now, when you're starting out, there's really not going to be anything in here, and that's okay. So the best thing you can do is you'll be synced up. You should see that your code, there's usually a deployment thing here, right? So when you first deploy your code, you'll see underneath deploys, this is all your different deployments, right? So we have production, and then you have this thing called deploy preview. Then you have production and deploy preview. For now, as far as getting started, just focus on production, and we'll focus on using this production in main. But every time you go and you update your code, you'll see both of these. And I can explain in another recording a little bit more about this whole process. But for now, just focus on production and start building using this right here. And so what you'll notice is if you click on this, this will actually tell you what was done. So this is a summary of what you built. This is a log of what was built. They have their own process, and it's pretty simple, actually. Looks like there's a lot going on, but it really is not much. Like, there's only two things I use in here, and that's this first one called initializing. I want to make sure that there's nothing that says errors, and then building, same thing here, nothing that says errors. If there are this will actually say failed with a ed, failed, or it'll say complete. If it says failed, then you'd come in here and you'd figure out what failed, and you'd go back to Codex and you'd say, hey, this failed, please fix it. And you can cut and paste in the issue and work through it. So that's a really easy place to go. There's also logs and things called functions. And so again, here we'd come in and we'd try to find where the problem was. And I'll go over how to do this, how to do troubleshooting with Netlify. I think I'm going to have to do a separate video, so this is not so long. I'll have a Netlify troubleshooting video where basically I show you how to look at the logs, how to find errors and get them into Codex or whatever AI tool you're using, and how to figure out how to fix stuff. And it's pretty simple. There's generally not a lot of places to go to find errors. Like I said, there's under deploys is one. You'd come in here and you'd go under initializing and building. You'd also come underneath logs. This is another place to go in here, and I can teach you how to find in all of these files, like where would you go to look, right? So I'll teach you how to go find the right one. And then the other place is inside your browser. If you notice here, there's these three dots here. And if you go under more tools and then dev tools, under here, you'll notice that there's errors. Now, it's funny, in Netlify themselves, they've got errors. You can see here, there's 149 errors happening. And I'm not sure what's doing that. Like, we don't care, that's their environment. But this is where you would come to start working on stuff. And I will give you, I'll kind of teach you how to use this. But this is a really powerful way to ensure that the website is running successfully on your website, and you can use the browser itself to make sure everything's okay. And yeah, so that's it for like places to go and figure out where problems are happening. There might be a few other places you can look at, but for now, that's been primarily what I've focused on. Okay, and that's kind of an overview of everything. The last thing is under let's see here if I can expand this. I think we have extensions. So under extensions, if you're going to do a database type build, I would use Neon. It's all automated. It's easy to use. And all I did was I came here and you'll see Neon. Go ahead and click the install button. So if you click here on that tile, I believe, I'm not sure if the button will be below. Let's take a look at one of these other ones. So if I do, I don't know what this is, another database. So yeah, at the very top, you'll see install, right? So this would say Neon, you'd click install and it would install it for you. Now Neon's free up to a certain point, so you will end up needing to pay for that as well. But in theory, if you're building an app that you plan on selling and getting users on, like, you purchasing these things should be a part of your business plan. So but it's also very inexpensive. I think it's also $19 a month. So $19 a month for Netlify, $19 a month for Neon. With that, you have a fully automated system to start testing AI deployment. And like I said, you can build a lot of websites, and VibeSheet can help you. So yeah, go ahead and you would install Neon, and then that's kind of it. There's a bunch of other things inside of Netlify that I can go over. There's just a bunch of random stuff here, like security stuff, team, all sorts of things. So there's also a lot of knowledge and information on YouTube to go and look up about Netlify and learn about what is available in Netlify. So there's a lot to unpack. I just want to give you enough information so that you can successfully build with VibeSheet and then get things onto Netlify. So but yeah, once let's say I just got this Mind to Do project going, I'd have my own little Netlify URL here, and then that's kind of it. That's the only thing. I would go into deploys, and that's about it. And then really at this point, I would come into Codex. Oh, and here's my explain project overview. So a Codex, the repository, a Mind Map X, is a web-based productivity application that pairs a React Vite front end with Netlify serverless functions and a Neon Postgre SQL database. So this is, and it all connects with Open Router, and there's to-do lists in here. So that's a high-level overview of what this thing did. So at this point, what I would do is I would do some simple things. I would say, review code and ensure the homepage loads successfully. And then I would hit code, and it would go through and it would just make sure the homepage loads. I would say, find any missing functions to load the homepage and marketing pages and ensure the code works, right? Like, these are just some basic things you can do to like start cleaning up code before you run. You could say, ensure the application dashboard loads correctly, right? You can also do review the design and UX update to use rounded corners and look fancy, right? If you want to do that ahead of time, you just want to make sure things are looking good. You can also say, make sure the main menu loads in the header and the footer also loads correctly. Ensure a nice modern design and fix any broken code. So I'm just, going through, I'm going to run these ahead of time. I'm not too worried about Netlify at this point. I just want to run some prompts. I might run like 5 or 6 of these things ahead of time just to make sure things can load. And then what I do is I keep pushing those over to GitHub. It's pretty simple to do. I'll work you through an example right now. So let's say, I went through all those prompts and I was pushing stuff over to GitHub, but now I want to change the color of, I don't know, let's see, maybe this button here, get started. Maybe I want to make it a blue color. So I'm going to say, I'm going to highlight this section here and I'm going to say, and I always start off, either you start off the word update or enhance, something like that. But by using the word update the code to, that's going to tell it to actually work on code. The problem is if you don't do that, it may think you're asking questions. Even if you push the code button, it could get confused. So update the code, actually update the color on the, update the color of the button, get started, to blue. That is under the top section of the home page. And that's it. So I'm going to write code. I'm going to click code and it's going to go through and start trying to code that for me. And then I'm going to archive this. You can request more complicated things. And I will have some more working examples. So I just want to give you a high level overview of how to start building with Netlify and Neon. So this is just a way for you to understand, like, how do you start communicating with your code and how do you get that over to Netlify itself. But we can get a lot more advanced on what we want to do. So for example, let's say I'm going to start a new chat here. And let's say, I don't know, on this about page, what do we want to do? Yeah, well, let's say I want to, do something here to add more. Well, let's pick something else here. So go to mind map. Let's take a look at this bottom here. Like, what can we do to enhance this? So let's take a screenshot and do that. And then we'll paste it into ChatGPT and said, provide directions to an AI coder to update the bottom section, vision meets action on the mind map marketing page. Let's enhance this to use a image from image that is available on the site. We can use instruct to use any image and optimize this section. Feel free to expand the text and ensure this looks good. So what we can do is we can use ChatGPT to guide codecs, right? Like if you're not sure what to type in codecs, that's okay. You can paste in things, you can give ChatGPT issues you're seeing, and it will give you all of this. Updates instructions for the AI coder. So here we go. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to take all of this. So update instructions. Say update and make this into a prompt that we can add into codecs. This is ChatGPT5, so let's see how it does. Codecs prompt. Yeah, update vision meets action section on mind map page. So here we go. You are updating that mind map. Okay, so I'm just going to take this top part. I could just click copy here, but I'm going to go ahead and take all of this. And I'm going to Control C, and then we'll paste that in. And there we go. So there's all the instructions. So I am going to look at update gets. So this is the home page here. So home page, I did grab the home page. There's a button here, and it did update the CSS file. So here we go. So here's how you push code over to Netlify. So this is still in Codex. So what I did was, just as a reminder, I had this line here in green. There's 12 things that got adjusted. It removed one item. So if I come in here, you can look over the code. If you're not a developer, you can ignore this or glance at it and just see if it even looks right. But then click on Create PR in the top right here. And that is called a pull request. And what that's going to do is that automatically send this over to your GitHub account. And now it says View PR. So if you click on this, it's going to open up this page. And this is what we call your pull requests. Very simply, though, you just need to make sure that you take this request and you approve it. So right now it's doing some checks on its own. Don't need to worry about all this. Just the big thing here is where it says merge pull request. Click this button. It's going to ask you to confirm. And then that's it. So this is automatically merged. I can X out of this tab. If I come back, you'll notice that this updates to merged, right? This row now says merged, and you can archive this. And now if you come over here to Netlify, you'll notice that this is auto deploying. So if I'm going to refresh this page. So we got two things happening. One that says deploy preview, and then one that says production. I don't think you need to worry about the preview right now. We can talk about that in a future video, but for now, really want you to focus on production. And so this is going through and building. So if I click in here, you'll notice that it's doing the initializing, and it did the initializing, that says complete. It did the building, it went through and it says that was complete. Then it went through deploying, right? And that says complete. Now it's going through cleanup and then post-processing. So it did all of that. It's, it went through and it built everything automatically. So that's really, really cool for us, because that means that from Codex, all you got to do is click that create PR, then click view PR. You just merge it, right? You okay that code, and it will automatically bring everything over here for you. And then once this is all done, you'll notice at the top, there's a button that says open production deploy. So this is your most recent code. So if you click it, it'll open up the website, and then boom, there you go. Get started is now in blue. And so that all works. It goes to my purchase page. That looks good. So there is a way to go look at the old one if you wanted to. You could go and see, what it looked like before. But for all intents and purposes, you keep moving forward as the best you can. So anyways, that's in place, and it got updated from, this right here, this get started. So get started. So maybe the blue's better because it's more noticeable. So maybe I'll leave it. And then the next thing is, because I want to update that one section, this is a little bit bigger, and this is showing you how to bring stuff from ChatGPT to guide Codex. Even though there's a lot of information in here, I'm just going to click on code, and we're going to do this same exact thing. So now we're kind of like on repeat. We are going to keep using Codex. We are going to allow it to update code. We're going to click on this when it becomes available. And then we are going to click, create the PR, view the PR. We then go into ChatGPT, we click on that merge button, then we click on confirm, and then we can click out of the tab, and then we archive that row, and then that's it. And then the last step is literally go into Netlify and just make sure things are improving, right? And so all you're doing at this point is you are coaching Codex, or you're coaching Cursor, or you're coaching all of these AI automation tools to help build your site with Netlify. Like I said, what I like to do is I like to use a chat tool like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is you're using. I like to give it screenshots, ask it what's going on. I will often take errors that I find, and I will give it to ChatGPT, and I will ask it, why is this happening? Give me instructions for the AI coder. And then I will paste those into Codex, and it will tell Codex exactly what to do. Like, that is a very powerful system. And you can ask Codex to really build out all of your database. So all of your Neon stuff, you can just say, make sure that my database is set up to allow users, make sure that my user page, my purchase page connects to my Stripe page. After my Stripe page, make sure that, my users are stored in the database. Like, you go through all of that to start building, right? So I am coming up on an hour on this video. I don't want to do too much more on this video. What I'll do is I'll do another video here that's going to get into a little bit more hands-on actually coding with Codex and Netlify, and showing you maybe some prompts or commands that you can do. But really, it's a lot of repetitiveness at this point as I'm massaging the site that I want to build, and I'm getting things up and running, right? This also gives you a lot of creative control and power over your site. It might take you some time to get things laid out and looking perfect. It's up to you to kind of structure this the way you want it. You can manipulate things. There's a lot of different cool things you can do. But I think long term, if you're going to keep growing this, you need to be able to guide these AI tools on what to do, what to change, what you want, right? If you have customers complaining to you, hey, this thing is broken, or hey, can you add this feature? You need to be able to do that. And that's where these tools are really helpful. I would like to get VibeSheet to be able to do that for you. So that's something that we'll be looking at here in the coming weeks. For now, one of the most powerful tools I've found is Codex. It's just awesome. I know some people are using Cursor as well, but you're gonna have to pay more for Cursor. I think Codex is a part of OpenAI. Right now it's free. If you're paying $20 a month, it's free. It might even be free in general to the public. I don't know. But it's incredible. It's awesome. I definitely would check it out. If you're really liking Claude, I know Claude Code is out. That could be another good option. But I think you learning how to use VibeSheet with those other tools, I think, is really what we need to be doing. There's no one tool that can just do it all. And you really need a set of tools and processes to really accelerate the process. Um, but I think what you'll see is you'll end up using VibeSheet with Codex, with ChatGPT all together. And it's really cool stuff. So here we go. We got our update here. Mind map demo page got updated. And yeah, it looks like it did some updates here. I'm not going to read through it. We'll just see what it looks like. So I clicked on create PR and it's running through. It doesn't take very long at all. As soon as it stops spinning, you can even click it now. If you click it now, it'll auto flip over to the right page. And then all I do is I scroll down. I click on this merge pull request, confirm merge. It'll all go away. You see all this purple stuff. It says merged. That's it. That's all I do. I exit out of the screen. And then I click the back button here in the tool, and then this will change to merged. And then I close that out. And at this point, I go over to Netlify and you'll see it says building. If you don't see these, you can refresh the page and you'll see it says building. And then at this point, you're just doing this over and over and over again. You're working with Codex, you're asking it to fix and build and do stuff, and you're working yourself through getting your app running. With VibeSheet, because I'll have so much code already in place, it will accelerate the process. Like the Codex will be able to find those files and it will be able to optimize things for you a lot faster. And what I would do is I would start off your home page and then your marketing pages and just make sure everything's looking good. Don't worry about the app itself. Make sure that your front end stuff looks good. Then you can build your login page. And then once your login page has like a basic admin account, you can log in and start working on your app. And then once your app is done, you can work on doing the Stripe and the payment stuff. And then once that's done, you're ready to go, ready to have people come and buy your app. So I came into this last production, 536. That's the one that just went. All my initializing build, everything looks successful there. So that all looks good. Now, if I click on open production, it'll open a new link. I set my blue button there, mind map. If I go down to the bottom, there we go. Check that out. We've got a little gray section. It added a lot more text here. Vision meets action. Looks like, it gave me a different image. So that's not the same one. I thought it was, but yeah, it looks similar, but it is different. Use the power of AI or manual tools to transform your big ideas into detailed, trackable tasks. Every step from concept to completion stays clear, connected, and actionable, so you and your team always know what's next. Map your ideas, build your plan, and watch your vision come to life. Now you can always take this text and you can say, hey, Codex, here's what I actually want you to write. And you could actually coach it and tell it exactly the text you want. So there's ways for you to use AI to, update this stuff exactly. But anyways, that was a little block that it added. I think the to-do, I had a similar thing down here, so I could apply something similar down there. But yeah, that was a really easy update. That's it. So then I would go on to the next thing. Like, what's the next thing I want to update? And so you kind of work your way through all this. Now it could be that, you can give a much bigger instruction. You could say, hey, make sure the mind map, I can add nodes and I can do this and I can do that. And it works like, you can give it like a laundry list of like 10 things. I find that you can give it like up to 5 different things, like big picture things to do, and it will run for a while. But what I've discovered is sometimes you need to rerun that again. So let's say you run the prompt, and let's see if I can take a look and see if I can find something similar where I had to do that over and over again. It may not. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. Fix mind map to do prompt for open router, fix mind map to do creation bug. So I may have ran the same prompt twice here. Let's see, update Kanban. Doesn't really update mind map node spacing. Yeah, so I'm just kind of working on some things here, but Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not an easy way to show you, but I think what we'll do is we'll do another video of me coaching you how to actually communicate in Codex to get what you need. But the big thing here is you have all this code coming from VibeSheet, a lot of files. So you need to add prompts to get to clean the code up, right? And I think a part of the cleaning process is you just going through getting the application to run, like get your homepage to run. Like, can you open up this homepage and get it to load correctly? Does your menu load correctly? Does your menu do what you want it to do? Like, this one's a sticky header menu. Is that what you want, right? Like, coach it through what you want. Is there a footer? Are there sections of the homepage? Like, get that stuff working. Then go on and make sure all these pages work. Next, I would work on the login and then make sure that, maybe try an admin login. Like, say Codex, I want to do an admin, to get started, right? And so then I that way I can log in using my own admin account because I don't have users yet. And then you can go through and start developing, all of it and build a dashboard. Like, how do you want the dashboard to look? Lay that out. Coach Codex through that, right? So VibeSheet, if you think ahead of time, you can ask VibeSheet to develop all this out, right? I need a dashboard. I need these elements. I need metrics. Like, give it all of that information. You can start ahead of time with ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to like figure out what needs to be on these different pages. And then you give that to VibeSheet so it can code everything out. Looking back, I might have actually thought through, okay, do the dashboard in one VibeSheet. And then I might have done my mind maps all in a different sheet. So that way I have all this in place. And then I actually have my mind map canvas and all of this in place. I might have gone through and planned this out more. And then I might have done one for to-dos and one for Kanban boards. Like, I might have actually done 3 different vibe sheets just for these, and then one for the dashboard. So I might have ended up having 6 or 7 vibe sheets, just so I can build out all the different modules and sections. It's something to think about. If you're not sure what you want to build, that's okay too. Just know that if you're just going to throw spaghetti against the wall, right? If you're going to throw something out there, you don't need a lot of detail, but realize you will need to coach and guide the AI to build what you need using Codex and using these tools. And it will take time because you're just learning and figuring it out. However, if you spend some time ahead of time thinking out what you want built, you can request that of the AI, right? And it will help you build something custom and something that doesn't exist out there. I will end on this. If you want to build something in a day and you want to sell it, I think that's great. But the problem is everyone else can look at your tool and probably do the same thing. Like, what is going to protect you from other people taking your idea that you did in one day? If you build a tool and it takes you a couple weeks, that might be more valuable than something that you did in a day. So I don't, I think you should be excited that you can build something like what I'm showing you in 2 weeks. Like, this is really impressive. Like, this would have taken me several months with AI before all these tools, right? Now that we have these tools, I did this in 2 weeks, it's shocking to me as a developer. So you should be ecstatic that you can build something this complicated and this cool, and it's going to take you a couple weeks. I think that is awesome. And the fantastic part is it's going to be difficult for other people just to come through and steal this from you in a day or two. Like, it'll take them at least a couple of weeks. And by then you're ahead of them a couple weeks as you keep building. So you'll have some really cool tools that you can sell and test the market. So the most important thing is having a marketing plan. Building the tools, it will be pretty easy. You can do that in a couple of weeks, but it will take you time. Now, if you're new and you're developing on Netlify, this may take you, 3 to 4 weeks, but you can reach out to me. I can coach you through things that you need to do. And then I'll end on this. My plan is to try to start having daily to every other day open Zoom calls where you can ask questions about Netlify and maybe anything else you're working on, just so I can help coach you and get you moving forward. I want to ensure that you all are successful. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. We'll end up, I'll have more videos on how to better coach codecs. I think that's going to be really important. How do you work on codecs to get to build cool stuff like this? So anyways, I'm really excited for you. I think that there's some really amazing opportunity with this. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by this. I think you'll see that it's very kind of repetitive and you can easily get stuff building. You just need to learn how to find errors, how to coach codecs, and there's a few ways to do that. So I am going to do a part 2 of this, and that's going to be how to use VibeSheet, how to use ChatGPT with codecs, and then how to look at errors and logs, and how to actually work out any problems you might find. And we'll work on that next. And I may end up just building a little mini project and not building into Mindex2 because it's pretty stable code. But we'll take a look at maybe building another little mini project and get us up and going. So anyways, if you have any specific questions, let me know. I know there's a lot to unpack, but I really think that Netlify is going to be a great way for you to go. Hopefully you appreciate this overview video, and I'm excited for your feedback. Cheers.